No way he just said this. One of the staple New York Knicks players just spoke out, shading Tom Thibodeau and saying that the Knicks are going to be much better under the new coaching, while multiple players have spoken out on Mike Brown taking over as the team's head coach for the foreseeable future, as the Knicks are doing everything in their power to try to win an NBA title. That is exactly what Leon Rose said when he fired Tom Thibodeau off the New York Knicks after their first appearance in the Eastern Conference Finals in 25 years. It was a move that surprised a lot of people, but at the end of the day, the Knicks players ultimately did not find that they had specific roles for the most part outside of Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns, and none of them claimed to have undying faith in Tom Thibodeau. All this led to Tibbs being fired and Mike Brown ending up getting the job. Brown has been the head coach of many teams before and now coaches the Knicks, and the results, they've already been good. We are already seeing a lot of good stuff, but there's been a lot of comments surrounding Mike Brown, Tom Thibodeau, and a lot to go over, guys. But before we do that, if you're part of that 57% that's not subscribed to Knicks Digest, make sure to subscribe for daily New York Knicks updates. We're back on that grind. The NBA season is just around the corner, and I cannot wait. And with that, we are going to have a ton of great content for you, including the fact that Deuce McBride, one of the long-standing Knicks who's only ever coached before Mike Brown in the NBA has been Tom Thibodeau, just spoke out in a way that definitely when you see what he said, it feels like a bit of a jab towards Tom Thibodeau in the way that they played. As I mentioned earlier on, the Knicks core players did mention in exit interviews that they didn't have an undying faith in the way that Tibbs coached the team. They didn't feel like their roles were very specified. Because of that was one of the main reasons why Thibodeau got fired, according to the source from what I've heard. And because of that, what we've seen now is that Tom Thibodeau and the Knicks are obviously separated, and the Knicks players do have a lot of faith in Mike Brown. But diving into what Deuce said about Mike Brown and Thibodeau, he said, Mike Brown's been communicating with a lot of guys, also allowing a lot more people to talk and really get a feel for what's going on. A lot more player movement and ball movement. Last year, at times, we got stagnant and we depended on a lot of isolation shots, which is tough down the stretch. This year, it's going to be a little more freedom with the movement and a lot of guys cutting and getting active. Now, obviously, Deuce is going to say that he's like excited for Mike Brown and saying, oh, well, this is a good thing. This is good here. This is good here. It's what the pros do. That kind of feels like Deuce wasn't too thrilled with how the team was being coached in the playoffs last year. We saw Deuce make comments a while back as well where it felt like he lost faith in Thibodeau. We saw Mikal Bridges do it. We saw a few different players make these comments that sort of seemed like they didn't fully trust Tibbs as the coach. Deuce had done that before, and this feels like him definitely saying, yeah, I like the way that the Knicks are going to be coached now better than before. Now, again, he's not going to be like, oh, well, Tibbs should still be the coach. This sucks. Like, he's not going to say that even if he believes it. And I don't think Tibbs holds any real animosity towards Tibbs, or Deuce holds any animosity towards Tibbs. But when it comes down to it, I do really believe that Deuce McBride is very happy with Mike Brown taking over as the coach. During the playoffs, we saw this 7-man rotation be the guys who were used heavily, and then other guys were used more scarcely. Now, obviously, out of these 7, Deuce McBride played the least amount of minutes, putting up 19 minutes a game, or a little under 19 minutes a game, and also was the 7th most minutes played. Now, look, that's all understandable. That's completely fine that he'd be upset. But also, Deuce should have played more because he was playing well in the playoffs after all, which is something to note here. I mean, when we look at guys in the three-point shooting, outside of Landry Shamet, who only appeared in 11 games and really only got minutes in 4 of them, Deuce McBride was the Knicks' highest three-point shooter when it comes to percentages. Now, Tyler Kolek, he hit the three that, I mean, he hit the three that he made is the best way to put it against the Celtics. But outside of that, when it comes to Landry Shamet, he shot absolutely phenomenally from the field and from 3 in the playoffs and an excellent run. But also, Deuce played in every game. He shot 37% from 3 and should have been getting more minutes than some of the other guys when rotations weren't working. However, that didn't happen, and Deuce continued to struggle the Knicks continued to struggle from behind the arc a lot of times. That caused some issues, and Deuce looked good in the playoffs and didn't get more minutes, even though it was clear that he should have. If I were Deuce, I'd be upset too. Deuce is coming off a fine season, putting up 9.5 points per game, 2.5 rebounds, and 3 assists, shooting 40% from the field and 37% from 3, including 39% from 3. Now, what's interesting about this whole situation is when you look at Deuce and when you look at everything that's going to happen, it's not guaranteed that he's going to get more minutes per game next season than the 25 he did or than the 19 he did in the playoffs last year. The Knicks brought in a ton of talent, and Mike Brown has said he's going to use 9 to 10 guys, trying to play as many guys as possible. So when you consider that, it does make a lot of sense that the Knicks are sort of going to stray away from what they were doing and sort of use this new style that, yeah, it's going to be deeper, and come the playoffs, it'll be 9-man rotation at most. But still, there's going to be a lot of guards out there. I mean, Malcolm Brogdon's here. Jordan Clarkson's here. Obviously, Jalen Brunson's around. So when you consider that, it is going to be interesting to see how Mike Brown staggers these minutes with the guards and how Deuce does get minutes to show up here, because it definitely is a question heading into this season as well. So that's something that we do have to think about when considering everything. Now, when we look at this, we are going to see a lot more guys who are playing, or excuse me, when we look at this, we're going to see a lot more guys who will be playing in the playoffs more than just these 7. But it is going to be interesting to see where Deuce's minutes go, because there's a chance they don't really change. Maybe he doesn't mind. Maybe he just didn't like that he was getting limited opportunities in the 19 minutes. That's perfectly understandable. So we're going to see what happens there. But he wasn't the only person to speak out on that. As the 2 effective captains of this team, well, the captain of this team and the effective assistant captain, Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, both also spoke on the Thibodeau situation themselves, because frankly, they are the 2 most outspoken players or the vocal leaders of the Knicks. Brunson said, "I think obviously it's sad to see a man I've known for a long time part ways with this organization, but he's meant a lot to me. I've expressed that to him publicly and personally. He means a lot to my career up to this point," which he absolutely does. I mean, when you look at Brunson's numbers, his best years, also featuring the new Jalen Brunson headshot where the man looks locked in, he put up 26 points per game, 7.3 rebounds, and 3 assists, shooting 48% from the field and 38% from 3. Meanwhile, Josh Hart was a similar story. He had the best season of his NBA career, putting up 13.6 points, 9.6 rebounds, and 6 assists. He got a steal and a half per game, was absolutely excellent last year, and was Thibodeau's Swiss Army knife. Now, Brown's still going to use him as a Swiss Army knife, but Josh Hart, he broke out under Thibodeau in a way that we'd already seen Josh Hart being great. I mean, he was averaging 20 points per game with the Trailblazers, but still, he really found his niche with the Knicks. And Hart spoke on this situation saying, "Obviously, I love Tibbs. I'm always going to have that love for Tibbs for the things that he helped me with and putting me in a position to get paid. So I always got love for him. I hope he's doing well right now. But obviously, we have Mike, and we're extremely excited about what he brings to the table offensively and defensively. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of a feeling out process, but we're excited. We're excited for what this team has and what this team can be." And Josh is right. This is the exact response. I mean, so is Brunson's in a way too, but that's the exact correct response, I feel like, from Josh Hart. Like, yeah, I'm excited about our new coach, but I'm always going to love Tibbs. The man got me paid, and he put me in a position to play my best basketball. So, very professional comments from these two, especially when they both do love joking around, specifically Josh Hart. He has his fun with the media. Obviously, the whole quote on, "If I'm not starting, I want to get traded," which he doesn't actually mean. He's just saying that he's a good enough player to start, and we will talk about that more in depth later on. But Thibodeau is doing well. He's off at St. John's doing his thing, helping out there, and it's nice to see him. He also looks like he lost weight, so shouts to Tibbs for that, because, you know, good for the man. I love Tibbs. But, look, when it comes down to it, Jalen Brunson did mention back in the day after the Knicks got eliminated, where he was asked if Tom Thibodeau if he could coach the Knicks to the championship. He said, "Is that a real question right now? Did you seriously just ask me that?" Yes, come on. And looking back on it, it did look like Brunson knew Tibbs was going to get fired, especially with the Athletic mentioning that he had the backing of Leon Rose, but it will come down to James Dolan. And with James Dolan, William Wesley, Brock Aller, and some of the players not loving Tibbs, Leon's hand got forced. Obviously, Tibbs got fired, and things changed around. Now, Mike Brown has stepped in as the head coach, and he's being very exciting when he talks. He was asked about instituting offensive concepts and said, "Our staples, pace, spacing, paint touches, quick decisions, ball reversals, our automatics with the reads, playing conceptually without calls, being hard to guard, implementing this is going to take time. The preseason is going to get frustrating, but we're not going to skip steps. Don't skip steps." So Mike Brown already really talking about offense in a way that we never saw Tibbs talk about offense. I think fans should be very excited for Mike Brown. He's definitely grown on me since the hire. I did say at the time that I didn't love the hire, but I didn't hate it. I just wasn't really inspired or felt like I was too moved by it. I did really like the idea of James Borrego, but Mike Brown, his teams usually shine very well in the first year that he coaches them, so we're going to see what happens here. Guys, I'm so excited to watch this all go down. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you don't miss a single Knicks update now that we are back in the swing of basketball. Have a great day. Go Knicks.